All right, so I'm restarting my series, and basically, I want to build a letter business, and I'm going to build it from scratch. So I'm going to give myself, I wanted to say 60 days, but I want to do it in 30 days. I just want to show how powerful and important it is to set a deadline because it pushes you to do really important things where you could delay actually trying to get a customer in distribution by working on the perfect website, right? And it might not even be about that. It's developing the actual product. So I'm going to give myself 30 days and I want to show so far where I'm at. So the idea is I'm going to build letters mailed to you, and the concept and the brand name is the book letter. So I'm going to send you letters from history and it's delivered to your mailbox, right? And so my first product is going to be Jane Austen. So I'm going to take her letters that she wrote to Cassandra, family members, and I'm going to curate about 12 of them. And I'm going to try to reproduce them exactly how she wrote them and explain what that letter is comprised of. Because it's very interesting. If you see her letters, everyone's maybe seen them, but you've never seen them in their entirety. And so I think that's where it gets really fun. So, like, one, for example, is she wrote some cross hatching, right? So she wrote the letter, wrote it out, and the way she writes is very particular. And she'll start here, and then at the end of the letter, she fills in the rest of the spot. So if you don't know that, you try to read it from there. It doesn't make sense, or there's that really cool thing. And then because paper was so expensive at that time, she didn't have much money during her lifetime. She turns the page and then writes an entire second part of it, and it crosshatches, and it's super fascinating. It's really fun to see and look at. So an example of that is here's a letter, and here's the crosshatching. So she wrote here, starts, then turns the page and writes again. And look how beautiful her writing is. I mean, it's spectacular. And anyway, see how she then fills in some of the spaces. She leaves enough space to write who it's going to and a return address, right? And then fills in every page. It's really fascinating and interesting, but the point is I want to recreate them perfectly, remake this old seal, which is an old sealing wafer that I don't even think anybody produces them, makes them. So we're going to try to remake that and so ship that to you with every letter so it's enclosed like that. I am going to put it in an envelope because the goal, right, is this comes in here, which is one authentic recreated letter by Jane Austen. I'm going to then, I believe, recreate the exact letter in easier to read writing so that more people can actually read this because it's really extremely difficult to read her writing if you're not used to that. So I'd want to remake this, but exactly how she wrote it in all the same cool little spaces, but just with a little bit of an easier font. And I think that'd be very fascinating. Then I want to include other fun tidbits like this is another amazing fun letter, but it has a doodle that she drew. And then maybe give some history and facts on that, right? Then I want to include something like this, which is Jane Austen in her lifetime. I believe this is the only surviving record of her expenses to give us an idea of how much money she had or spent. And this is a list of things that she documented that she bought and spent money on. So this is fascinating, and I want to include that. And on the reverse side, I would print that information, right? So I just want to include fun tidbits with every letter. And then I want to include artwork, or this is art by her sister Cassandra, who was also a phenomenal artist. And this actually is the only image and likeness we have to go off of Jane Austen because in her lifetime, again, she wasn't notable enough for someone to commission an oil painting, or they just didn't have enough money to do this. So Cassandra's sketch of her, which I need to get, now this is what I want to get exactly the same as well. I want it to be the exact size that she drew, but this may be the only image we have, and everything is based off this image. Just quite fascinating, right? So I want to include that. Again, on the back, include all this information. And again, just more of her fascinating letters and how they were written. And you can see where the sealing wafers were. And she has all kinds of fun letters. This is a letter to her from a publisher. So there's going to be just amazing, awesome, fun tidbits and one original letter coming to you via the mail. And it's going to explain the life of Austen, her life as a serious writer. She wanted to be a writer. She wanted to make money as this. She took it seriously and pursued this. And her writing is amazing. She's witty, clever, is negotiating contracts. She's an entrepreneur. She's a very interesting, powerful woman at a time where women notably didn't have much of this. And she never even wrote her name on books because of that. So It's just a fascinating tale. I had never been introduced to Jane Austen this way, and I think it's fascinating, so I want to share that with others. And I know that nobody has ever sent her letters for you to hold and open just as she sent them to Cassandra, and I think that's what's going to make this super fun and interesting. So that's the letter side, and I need to develop it, right? So 12 letters mailed to you all within the span of 6 months, 2 letters a week, 2 letters a month, I'm sorry. And I have a website going, and let me share with you that website. It's going to be what I'd say is it's not 100% completed yet. So let's go ahead, and I'm using Shopify if anyone's curious. And let's go ahead and see it. So I have this thing right here. So here's the preview. And then it's going to be letters from history delivered to your door. So receive Jane Austen's letters exactly as your sister did, folded, sealed, and delivered to your mailbox. And then here, this is part of the template, so excuse the cheesecake copy. But it's going to be all of the letters. I still need to fix some of these buttons. As you see, it's not fully working yet, but in that, right, you'll be able to scroll, and you'll be able to scroll and see the next, and this is just going to show, key components of what the letters are going to include. So I think that'll be fun. I also know that this isn't too native for people to click and scroll and know that you can click and scroll. So we'll see. Then here I'm just explaining more information. So twice a month, you'll open an envelope and discover a full-size facsimile of one of surviving Jane Austen's letters, recreated on period style paper in a wafer sealed exactly as she did in 1810, and so on. She lived up into her 30s or 40s, I believe. So unfortunately, quite quickly after she started writing, didn't get to finish much of some other books in her lifetime. She didn't get published, I'm sorry. A curator's commentary card that decodes Jane's wit, historical references, and hidden jokes. I want to include a lot of her humor and wit just because I love that stuff. And I think it's so fascinating that at her age, she was so intelligent and was able to do that. And it's all going to be just for $20 a month. And you can cancel anytime. And if you hate it, you can message me, email us, and I'll personally refund you. I'll send you another letter if you just still wanted it. I just truly believe in building an amazing product that you'd want to tell someone else about. And so the goal is, if that's not happening, I'd happily refund your money. Why it's one of a kind. First, this is Jane Austen's actual ring. It's on display in, I believe, Jane Austen's House of London, or some museum in London that owns this. And yeah, it's literally her ring that was passed down generations. And then I think Kelly Clarkson, it's funny, she tried to buy it and people were outraged, and she donated it back to a museum or something like that. And but yeah, fascinating. You can buy a recreation of it, but it's one of a kind. So why are these letters one of a kind? These letters reveal a family that believed in her. Her father supplied books and paper and encouraged her imagination. Her sister Cassandra sketched her likeness and preserved her memory. Within these private exchanges, you see that you'll see not only Jane the novelist, but Jane the daughter, the sister, and the friend. What emerges most clearly is her growing conviction that she was born to write. Long before her novels reached the public, her letters carried that spark. The steady sharpening of her wit, the quiet shaping of her ambition. They show a woman who not only wrote with brilliance, but understood the business of writing, negotiating contracts, protecting her work in a world where few women dared. Yes, she did. For the first time, surviving letters are being recreated as she intended, folded by hand, sealed with 18th century recreated wafers, and sent through the post twice a month. So this is just like a little fun us versus them kind of thing. So our letters, regular books by her, and museum gift shops, right? Sorry, they're usually not fun. And then how it works. So subscribe today and receive our Jane Austen letter series. We mail 2 letters each month by snail mail post, tracking included for your first letter. If you don't smile on the first delivery, email us for a full refund. And then this is going to be word from some of our founding members. So I'm going to go ahead and seed this to a few people just to get their opinions and reactions, and I'll host that here. And then I have an FAQ. So what are the letters? What do I receive with my subscription? How often do the letters arrive, and how long does shipping take, right? Are the letters authentic or newly written? Is this an experience suitable for a gift? Just all kinds of questions you might have. And then if you want to join our email newsletter, I'll be making any new discoveries we find about Jane Austen, any updates. This is all in hopes to build a second product, which is I want to get the rights to all 161 surviving letters, scan the front and back, recreate them, and mail all of them to you in their entirety. No one's ever done this, and host them all on a website so you can see the front and the back, which is amazing. And that's really the fun part of seeing the letters, not just getting, each part written out for you. It's fun, but it's not as fun as seeing that how she wrote it, how she thought. That's really fascinating. So you can join that for hopefully when we reach our goal. So I need to get 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers, and I think I can fund that. So that'd be really fun. And I hope to get a scholar named Juliet Wells on board. I believe this would be an amazing project that she would love. I really am doing this because she inspired me based on this video I saw of her on YouTube with Rajiv. Then I took her course, and a lot of this is based on her course, which I found wonderfully insightful and fascinating. And the hope is she joins me in trying to make this happen. I think she has a lot of connections to museums and understands, she's written lots of books and understands the world of licensing for some of this artwork that she's used for books from museums. So I hope between me and her we can make it happen. And my goal is I want this to show her and say, hey, I have X amount of revenue coming in. Let's go and do this amazing project and be the first in the world to host this for everyone to see. If you can pay the monthly thing to get them mailed, at least you can see them online, right? So that's the goal. And yeah, so this is day one. My goal is in 30 days, everything's ready, and I launch it all in 30 days to show you that any idea, you can do it in 30 days. All right, everybody, day one. Adios.